Welcome back to another video, everyone. If you're new here, my name is Jake. Welcome to the JD Cars Automotive YouTube channel. I'm wearing my Keys shirt today because we are in fact reviewing a Keys product, and I'm super stoked about this one because it's gonna remove a lot of headaches and a lot of worry in terms of having the right adapter to work on coding our BMW. Whether you're looking to read fault codes, clear fault codes, code in custom features, or completely reflash your ECU with a custom tune to gain horsepower, you're going to need a means of connecting your phone, laptop, or other device to your car. Now, up until recently when Keys released this product, you would need an application-specific device to connect to your car. So only certain devices that plugged in could work with certain softwares. Amazingly, I don't know how Keys did it, but they came out with an adapter that can do it all. This includes your favorite softwares, everything from Bimmer Code, Boot Mode, MHD, XHP, ISTA, etc. The list goes on. All of these applications work with this one very little adapter that I actually have in my pocket here. Here's the new Keys adapter. Thing looks pretty sweet. We have the network ID and password on the back, just so we always have it on here, which is a really nice little touch. I appreciate they're adding that. And something I have never seen on an OBD2 adapter like this, we actually have an Ethernet port right on the bottom here. So not only does this wirelessly connect to your phone and link it to your BMW, but if you want to get a little bit more detailed, a little bit more intensive, you can plug your laptop right into this adapter with a standard Ethernet cord. You don't need to go out and purchase a special eNet cable to connect to your BMW. You can just plug in a standard Ethernet cable. So I haven't been on Bimmer Code in quite some time. I'm actually really excited to code some features back into the F30 here. So without any further ado, let's hop into the JD Cars F30, see what this little guy can do. Now, before we get too into things, I'm going to show you exactly where to plug in your new OBD2 adapter from Keys. On all newer BMWs, you'll have an OBD2 port, which is your onboard diagnostic port. It's located just left of the brake pedal or your clutch pedal. You can see I currently have my P3 gauges, vent gauge plugged in so that we can read boost, 0 to 60, etc. So I'm just gonna unplug this guy, and that reveals the OBD2 port here. So we'll take our Keys adapter. Remember that network ID and passcode on the back. Network ID is Keys, password Keys1234 with a capital K, and we just plug it in like so. Not a 100% necessary step, but you know, I just be such a goody two-shoes. I'm gonna buckle up, not because I'm afraid of getting in a crash, but the software in some apps do like you to be buckled up for whatever reason. So buckle up, we'll give the ignition one press with the key in the vehicle to turn on ignition power. I'm just gonna turn off the climate control so you guys, there's the famous BMW ding. Turn off the climate control so you guys aren't listening to that the whole time. We're gonna pull out our phone, and from here we just have to go into our Wi-Fi settings. I do see the Keys adapter showing up here, which is always a good sign. Click on that, type in Keys 1234, join. Very quick. Excited to see how this thing works. All right. We have connection. For whatever reason, maybe when I was working on the fuel pump and I had the battery unplugged for like maybe 10 hours, I lost a lot of the coding that I did. So let's go into Bimmer Code. So now that we're in the Bimmer Code app, you do need to select the Keys adapter. At the time of filming this video, you'll notice here the Keys adapter isn't yet in the menu. By the time you're seeing this, they should have the Keys adapter in this menu. However, if they don't, the eNet cable option at the top of the menu does appear to work in the time being. As you can see, it allows us to get through and then select our vehicle. So whichever BMW, Mini, or Toyota Supra you may have, select that here. Press continue. It'll identify the control units within the car. There are multiple computers. I believe 9, 10 computers in this car at least. And once it's identified them all, let's see, actually there's 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, 12 modules or computers within this car that we can identify and modify. So I'm really excited to mess with these. This first category we have advanced crash safety module. That's really just seatbelt reminders, and I like remembering to wear my seatbelt, so I'm not really gonna mess with that. Air conditioning and all-round view camera, not terribly exciting. Comm box, I will check out really quickly. Oh yeah, that's just ringtones. Not gonna go crazy with ringtones today. But if I recall correctly, head unit and instrument cluster should have some fun things to play with. So let's check out head unit. We have acoustical lock confirmation. I like when it dings just to let me know I locked it. Maximum volume at startup is definitely something I advise messing with. This is the volume level that's saved when you shut off the car, and then that's the volume level when you hop back in the car and start it back up again. So if you park your car with the music blasting, you're not gonna get back in and get scared shitless because you forgot to turn the volume back down. Now going back here, we have daytime running lights. Yes. Okay, here's something huge that I lost when I unplugged my battery for a while. Pressure and temperature in tire pressure monitor. This will actually display the exact PSI or bar, if you're across the pond, on our iDrive screen within the vehicle status settings. So we can see more than just green or yellow in terms of tire pressure. That's not exactly precise. So this setting will actually display the exact tire pressure on the iDrive screen, something I really like. So we will change that to active. Sport displays, unassigned value. We already have sport displays within our iDrive. Don't really want to mess with anything else right now, so I'm just going to press code in the top right. Press start coding. It'll write that code in. And restarting ECU, clearing errors, very good. All right, coding successful. So we now have tire pressure on our iDrive, that's sweet. Now going into instrument cluster, should have some exciting things here as well. If you don't yet have digital speed within your instrument cluster, you can add digital speed, which is a really nice little feature. We do have the date enabled on the instrument cluster, and probably one of my more favorite, but pointless, I mean pointless aside from my own enjoyment, features is the M Performance logo. We don't have a 340, but screw it. Let's do a 340 M Performance logo and start logo. AG, I believe that's just the factory startup logo. We're gonna change that to the M Performance startup logo. If you don't yet have Sport Plus enabled, you can enable Sport Plus. You can change our low fuel warnings. I think they're pretty good where they're at, 30 miles and 50 miles. So we're gonna code in those M Performance startup logos. Instrument cluster just went completely black. It's so crazy how this little app just does all of this. I don't know, it's crazy. Coding successful, let's go. All right, anything else I wanna mess with while we're in here? We're gonna go into the FEM, the front electronic module, and see if we can mess with the windows. All right, convenient opening with remote control is active. So convenient opening with remote control means we can take our key fob, press and hold the unlock button, and it will lower all of the windows and open the sunroof. I believe this is a factory setting on pretty much all BMWs, but what they don't do from the factory, probably for liability reasons, is they don't enable convenient closing with remote control, allowing us to hold the lock button to put all the windows up and close the sunroof from the remote control, which is super helpful if you're inside and it's starting to rain and you don't want to give your interior a bath. So I'm gonna enable convenient closing with remote control, and if you want to get really fancy, you can even change the amount of time that you have to hold down the lock button for a convenient closing to begin. My only fear with doing 0.5 seconds is if it was in my pocket and I pressed the button by accident, it would start closing. So I'm just gonna leave it on 1.5 seconds. Horn signal when locking the car with engine running. I don't need that, but that's kind of funny. Window lifter interruption when opening a door. That is kind of annoying. I'm gonna deactivate that, because you know when you're putting up the windows and someone hops out of your car and then it stops putting up the window? I'm gonna disable that. As you can see there, retrofit steering wheel with paddles. You can enable paddle shifters if you want to add a paddle shifter wheel. It's pretty nice. But right now we're just gonna code in those convenient opening settings. Just press code, write that, restart the ECU, and coding successful. Let's go. So nothing else really in Bimmer code that I want to mess with today. Going into the Bimmer Link app, I have one other cool thing to show you guys. I'm just gonna change the adapter over to Ethernet cable while they're getting the keys adapter added to the menu list. Press done, connect, and hey, let's go. We're in. So we're into Bimmer Link, which is created by the same people who designed Bimmer Code. It's a slightly different app. This allows you to read parameters such as sensor values. I only have a few sensors in here right now, but you can add a crazy amount of different sensors. There are literally hundreds of sensors on this car. It's mind-blowing to just see this list, but you can read just about any parameter on this car. We don't really need to do that right now. Checking out the dashboard though, we can see our battery voltage, coolant temperature, exhaust temperature, oil temperature, and something I think you guys will find really cool, we can actually control the exhaust flap that comes on these cars from the factory right from this mobile app. So we can either have it open, auto, or closed. Of course, I have mine open all the time. What else did you guys expect? But you can mess around with that there. We can actually go in and register a new battery. For those of you who don't know, you actually have to register your battery to your car when you replace it. Looks like mine was replaced never. I guess I have the original battery in this car. That's good to know. Error memory, we can check out all the errors on this car. Info memory, permanent errors. And something I actually completely forgot about within Bimmer Link, we can perform service resets right from the Bimmer Link app instead of doing the very cumbersome pressing of the one button on the instrument cluster, which if you've ever done that, you know it's a pain to navigate through that one button pressing sequence. I completely forgot about this feature. I have not reset any of my service indicators in quite some time. So I'm gonna go into my spreadsheet where I keep track of all of my maintenance on this car, and I'll note that we're resetting the service of all of these things at the current mileage I have. But super helpful in terms of staying on top of maintenance to be able to reset your service indicators right here in the app. As you guys can see, this is not just my tint making it look like it's pitch black outside. It's actually getting quite late and it's almost time for dinner. So I'm not going to dive into the endless list of other applications, which, just to reference a list here, does include boot mode, Bimmer Code, Bimmer Link, ISTA, X-Delete, Thor Flasher, XHP, MHD, and many other apps. We don't have time to dive into all of those today. I don't even have all of those apps, but I think I'm gonna have to invest in them now that I have an adapter that can do it all. But let's check out what we just coded. I just hopped out of the car. We're gonna give it just a second to sit here. I'm gonna let those greeting lights turn off. All right, been a few seconds. So hopping inside here, you'll see one of our first things we coded, the M Performance greeting logo right here. Nice little touch that you wouldn't normally have unless you had an M Performance vehicle from the factory. And some added cool functionality. Remember when you would go to put your window up and then open the door and it would stop? Not anymore. It'll keep going. So that's kind of cool. And another really cool thing that I like, yes, of course, we could always press and hold the unlock button and it'll put down our windows and eventually pull back our sunroof. But were you always able to do this? Press the lock button, hold it, and back up go the windows. All synchronized, all at once. Nice feature to have on a rainy day. Anyways, folks, I have to run inside for dinner. I hope you've enjoyed this video on the keys all-in-one adapter. I'm sorry we didn't have more time to dive into more apps like boot mode, but we'll of course have more episodes coming soon using the boot mode mobile app as well as other mobile apps for coding and customizing our BMW using our keys adapter. I just tossed it in the glove box, so I've always got it with if I ever have to check or clear a code. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on JD Cars.